and Jamie was going to kick it off. So I assume we've now get started. It's the chairman, Frank Sawicki, will not be here tonight.
Okay.
He's traveling back from down south, so he'll be here next week.
He's riding his bike.
That's a long haul. That's a long haul.
21 speed.
So what I'm going to do is welcome our guest.
Thank you.
Anything do you want to sit through the whole meeting? It won't be long tonight, but
That's
for a
fine.
specific reason that you were here, or you just wanted to see what
No,
we're all about?
I knew you existed, but I never attended any of your meetings.
Okay.
And I read a truly wonderful article in the newspaper about your committee and what you plan to do, what you had been doing, want to do. So I was very impressed with it. I think
Okay.
you were
Wow, thanks.
very proactive. And there's one exception, and I'll get to that later. Take exception to one item. But you may not know it, but I was born and raised in the Netherlands, and until I was 26. And I used to go back 2 or 3 times a year in the past 15 years anyway, because my dad still lived there. So I see people riding bikes there all the time. And so I know a little bit about the culture of riding bikes. And as a matter of fact, I was there about 3 weeks ago again, and I rode a bike, and that brings me to my one issue I'm going to take with you. But I'm a positive guy.
It's
but
got to
this-
be e-bikes. So.
No,
Electric bikes? No?
A lot of people ride the e-bikes, and of course you know that in countries like the Netherlands they have separate paths for bicycles, pedestrians, even equestrians, and they have little buttons in the elevation of the equestrian for a stop sign.
Wow.
Oh,
The
yeah.
one thing I was going to take exception to is mandating bicycle helmets, because if you've been overseas, nobody has a helmet either in Denmark or the Netherlands. They just don't.
Oh,
No.
Amsterdam, I've seen them bike there. Wow.
Yeah.
Nothing.
So they don't ride bikes. I think if you want to use a helmet, more power to you. And sort of as a contribution to your thinking, and I love everything you do. So don't
Yeah.
take this in.
Oh, I don't take, I'm glad you came, and I think we'll have a good discussion in the end.
Yeah, and I think of course, it's a cultural thing as well. Let's say cyclists have the right of way in the Netherlands, no matter what. Even if you're at fault, you're still in the right. So
Mhm.
that's the premise of being a bicyclist in a country
Wow.
like the Netherlands. I presume it's the same in Denmark.
Well, they do here as well.
Do they legally?
Ostensibly.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you guys want to have this discussion on the record? Do you want to wait for?
Let's
Or we can talk
take it
now.
off
let's
here.
get started. And
Do you mind if I just take your name, sir?
Yeah, it's Peter.
Yeah, absolutely.
And my last name is lowercase d-e,
Okay.
and then capital B-A-K-K-E-R.
All right. Then let's
you,
get the
sir.
meeting officially started.
Are you expecting Eric or?
No.
No?
I haven't heard anything other than I spoke to
Or
Fran last night.
Alan or Charlene, too.
Charlene, oh yeah, that's odd for, very unusual for her not to be around.
And this is only our second meeting
Yes,
in
true.
person.
In person.
Was
And-
Alan or Alan was Alan here
Mm-mm.
at the no? Okay.
No, Alan wasn't here in the last meeting. I don't
But
know.
he's not officially a member.
He is not. He is
So-
a guest.
That's right. I forgot that. Okay.
He is
Also, if
a,
I may, I think your meetings are listed as Wednesday, right?
They-
I was here 2 days last week. One day I was on the wrong day because
Oh.
I looked at the website. And the other one, you were supposedly here. and
We should make a
told me
note,
to
we'll check it, because
can-
it
we'll
should be
check- we'll
Tuesday.
check it.
We can correct that along with your name
you know,
and taking off Jack.
a year ago,
Yes.
if it hasn't changed, a year ago, we were meeting on Wednesdays.
Oh,
May
okay.
still be on
Do you
there
remember
as
that?
Wednesday.
And then
No, I don't
Alan
remember.
couldn't meet on Wednesday,
yes,
and we
you
all
are
said,
right.
well, we're kind of retired, not all of
Yeah,
us, but
yeah.
we can meet on Tuesday if you like.
It doesn't, I play.
But the website might be wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the
I play in
website.
the Harwich Town Band. I'm going there at 6, and I play in the sound dunes, and we rehearse here. on
Okay.
Wednesday.
Um,
Go ahead, I'm sorry, I didn't want to interrupt you, but
I'll take the action. You can put me down as the action to
Okay.
verify. um, the website meeting timeframes.
Sure.
Do you want to check my name while you're there?
Oh, yeah, that's right, you're
I
gonna
mean,
go there, right? Oh, so
I I could do,
It's wrong.
yeah, I can do both.
You wanna do both? Okay.
I'll do both.
Charlie will take both.
All right, Charlie.
I'll take both.
Since it's
And
your,
also, they have, I mean, it's not a big deal. Do you prefer IE or LEY on your first name?
My first name, Charles.
Oh, Charles, okay,
Yes.
fair enough, okay.
Yeah.
Because I think they have you Charlie on the website, LEY,
Okay.
which is,
Certainly, that's okay.
I've always thought
yeah.
Charlie was IE, but.
Chuck
yeah,
Chuck is
yeah.
out.
Yes.
Charles, I got you, no problem.
There's nobody living that calls me that name.
we'll call to order. Approval of, May meeting minutes?
I
Approve?
yeah.
Second.
Good, second it, done. And I'm going on by here at this point, the agenda that Fran put together. He's got Carolyn Casey, most of you, she's the director, if none of you know, for here for the community center. And what she has done, and it probably should be a little bit lower on his agenda, but what she did on her own was to go out and purchase 2 bike racks and 2 repair stations. One will be here at the community center and one will be at Brooks Park. We've been trying to get funding, because, I mean, literally just a repair station is $2,000, you know, so it's not small amount of monies. But there was some grants available. We were gonna be looking at trying to get a grant. And she got in, and I believe it's through Cape Cod Commission. But I believe that, don't quote me on
I'll
that.
say she.
And what she wants to do is when they arrive, because she wants to wait till they arrive, is to kind of make it a community affair. Have us to attend, have maybe, I don't know, maybe somebody on the safety committee, maybe just few townspeople. So she wants to make a little to-do, community to-do when they
Nice.
receive them.
Nice.
And she took it upon herself through a budget to do that.
Yeah.
So, which is outstanding, and, you know, one of the emails, I couldn't thank her enough at this point. So that's what will be happening, and it was a good move that she waits till they're in, because you never know when things, you know, you purchase something today, but at least, you know, forget what it is, it's not that far away, the bike repair stations. I don't think they're made that far away. I mean, it's not an overseas thing, so,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah.
Can I ask questions, actually? I don't know how formal you are in this.
We're very informal.
Yeah. So what would be in the repair stations, for instance?
Oh, and someday you'll have to go to Nickerson. Nickerson's got one already
It's
there.
already there.
You know, you can lift your bike onto a couple of racks.
You can
You've
hang it
got
up.
tools that
Yeah,
are
tools.
connected
They're on a
with a
wire,
Chain
on a
or
cable.
on like a cable, a pump
Wonderful.
that's all connected.
Yeah.
You could change a tire, you could do some, you know,
You
You
could
can do
fix your
some minor
chain.
repairs,
Wonderful.
You know, it's,
Yeah, like it.
you know?
there's one on the way to Chatham as well,
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
good.
that's been there for
for
a
quite some time.
couple of years
Yeah.
or so.
Yeah.
I forget the name of that road, it's where,
And we thought that Brooks Park would be ideal because at least it's visible. I know you don't know that, you know, we've had our share of vandalism, and it's sometimes it's getting worse instead of better, but
This is Brook Parks, but along the bicycle path.
correct.
Yeah.
Yep, where the tennis courts are
Yeah.
and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I don't know exactly where.
I'm not sure exactly.
Put it, but
Yeah.
at least it'll be there and it'll be visible, you know?
Wonderful idea.
And then she's gonna have one here too, correct?
Yes,
So the other one's here.
yeah, so
Yeah.
she'll have one, I guess, I'm assuming on the grounds
Yeah,
here,
yeah,
physically
yeah.
on the grounds, and one in Brooks Park,
Yeah,
so.
fabulous.
Now Frank keeps on putting this on, I think, I don't know, potential OCR, you know, OCRT projects. I think the only thing that we were doing was the you know, the fix-it station.
The
and-
fix-it stations, and we talked about the lines,
Oh, yeah.
Now, they have lined small sections along the trail that go, the length of the trail, there's sections of maybe 10 yards. Don't know why they picked a small amount like that or what, but, so, and it does look nice where they have it. So it's, and so that was a project. We had them repair some rails that they did. So a lot of the things that we
Yeah,
talked about.
That's true, that's true. Anytime you might see rails or issues on the bike path, as he noted here, you know, always feel free to let us know. Email,
Rails?
There are fences along that trail that keep you out of deep ditches and stuff.
embankment or something.
Yeah.
And occasionally they get old and fall down, or during a tornado or a storm, a tree will hit them and they need to be replaced. So we keep an eye on
Oh, I
that,
see.
and they keep those replaced, which is nice. That has
Yeah,
worked
and
really
we
well.
report it back to DPW, and they support us
Yeah,
completely.
yeah, the link's good.
Um,
And Eric for overhanging branches and everything.
Yeah.
And
Eric's the man. I mean,
Eric is the man.
Yeah, Eric Levy is on our committee, but he totally, I mean, you know, he's like, director of maintenance of the,
Yeah,
not only Nickerson, but all of our trails.
nice.
And same thing with, you know, Cape Cod Rail Trails,
Yes,
everything.
yeah.
Yeah.
So they're,
They're working on it daily.
he supports it. Most of the time in the summer, he rides his bike to work
Yeah.
from Harwich. I mean,
I've ridden
you know,
by him in the golf, sometimes not on the bike, I don't necessarily
Yeah.
recognize
Oh,
him, but he'll be in the car.
on the golf cart.
Yeah.
And then by the time I'm by him, I'm like, Eric, and I'm sure he doesn't know who it is,
Yeah.
but he's a nice guy.
So we talked about, yeah, if you see anything, Link likes pictures, and I agree, I think it tells a whole lot, so if you
Yeah.
find something that's broken or whatever,
I have something on that line. I was down there today, sitting on the benches, and it was a beautiful day. And I noticed that it needs to be trimmed. And the grass caught maybe a little weed whacking there. It's not a lot of it.
where, at the Rotary?
At the Rotary. And here's, Paul, here's my
Yep,
comment, okay? In some regard, I don't know if that's something we asked Link to do or not.
usually they would do it.
I
on
thought
their
so.
own.
I thought so. That's why I want to bring it up very gently. I didn't take a picture. I don't care.
You know what? I'll email Eric,
Okay.
because as you know, they both come
Yeah.
together right there, and is that
Yeah.
Eric's?
Right.
Or
Exactly.
is
That's a
that
good point.
Link's?
Yeah.
I'll, yeah, we'll do it very gently, and I'll,
Because I mean, if it, I'll say this too, but in my mind, that could be a project we could do. You know, it wouldn't. Doing it
It's
weekly
so
would be
easy.
hard. Yeah. It would be easy, and if you trimmed the bushes up and, you know.
and you probably don't know, that's what I've been doing part-time since I retired around here, and then I
Okay.
cut way back last year. So I've got my battery-operated trimmers and
Yeah.
weed whackers,
And I have some
You
stuff.
have
Yeah.
and let me talk to Eric first.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Let's
Okay.
do that.
Yeah.
Clean up. And matter of fact, last week, Charlene sent me a picture of some mud and stuff after we got the heavy
Oh.
rains.
Yeah.
And the stones again up by the water department. And, you know, Link replied saying, so sorry, he was actually, this could be a new, kind of new business. He rode with the Mass DOT
Yeah.
the day before, up and down there, and he says, I saw it. I
Yeah.
forgot to put in a work order, he
Uh-oh.
said, so you reminded me. The good news is, and I can't remember if this was discussed, but while we're talking about that, there's a possibility, Ali, that we could have all new repaved, oh, yeah, we did talk about that the last meeting.
I think it was an email
Oh, it was an email.
that got sent, yeah.
Repaved OCRT.
Really?
And that's why Link right now is not gonna repair any of the big bumps or, the roots coming through. To a point, this is promising since they came and reviewed it with him. So there's a high probability, it might be a couple of years out, but there's a high probability to.
For how many miles?
I'm sorry, sir?
For how many miles?
That's what, 8?
I think it's 8.
This is you're familiar, it's the OCRT.
Yeah,
not the-
yeah.
from Harwich to Chatham.
Right.
Say the rotary to the
The
airport, right?
rotary to the airport. There's probability, I guess could be some monies available through the state,
That's
Get it
fabulous.
done.
Boy,
That'd be
that
awesome.
would be great.
Yeah.
No,
I didn't hear that. So that'd be through Mass DOT?
I think it was Mass,
I do think it was.
I think it was Mass
Okay.
I
DOT.
think it was,
Yeah.
Mass DOT.
Interesting, okay.
And they contacted Link, and he's on board with it, and that'd be terrific, because in the past, we have asked him to repair a couple of the really bad speed bumps. And, yeah, that's what he came back to. And so, yeah, he sent me an email the other day, just an FYI, which is good. I already mentioned about the update on the fixing stations, and 2 were ordered, and the bike racks from Community Center. Hydration stations. I can't remember the gentleman. Fran reached out to the gentleman who actually put up his own monies for 4 hydration stations, and I guess the money's available. They should have purchased them by now. Status is unknown. The guy wanted to meet with Fran this week the director of water department wanted to meet with him this week, and that didn't happen because he was out of state. So I think it's happening on Thursday.
Are those standalone stations?
Yes.
Not connected to the water supply, is it?
Yes, it's
Yeah.
connected to the water
Really?
supply.
Yeah.
Oh, that is
Yeah.
There's one in Orleans, and I went and tried it out during the heat wave last summer because I have the memory of the ones in school, and the water was so hot, you
Yeah,
just
right.
couldn't drink it, right?
Yeah,
The water is cool and fresh. I've
never tried the one in Orleans.
it was, if you're up in Orleans and you need a little water, go
Yeah.
fill your bottle. Those stations are great.
And they survive the winter? I mean,
Yeah.
freezing?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm wondering whether they probably shut them down.
I don't
I don't
know that. I don't remember not seeing it there. That's why I'm hesitant, but it's a
if there's
very
a
solidly
valve.
built, yeah. It's like the steel piping you'd see on the pump when we were kids.
Yeah.
It looks like that, only it's just a push button thing, but they're wonderfully designed.
Great. So we're looking for 4 more, and Fran will give us an update by next meeting.
Yeah.
And those were privately subsidized?
Yes.
Interesting, okay.
Not to be totally, he tried to get it through CPC about a year ago, and he ran into so many obstacles, he was kind of not happy about all the obstacles he was running into, so he privately subsidized them himself. We're probably talking like 10 grand.
Yeah, it was significant. It
A
was-
significant
they're-
amount of money.
Yeah, it was not.
You
cheap.
know this person?
I've never met him, and I forget his name.
You don't have to say the name, it just,
No, I
I'll
forget
put
his
in that
name.
it was privately subsidized, yeah.
Yeah, it was privately
Interesting,
subsidized.
okay.
Yeah.
And we tip our hats off to him.
Yeah.
So, I was on the CPC for a year. Hi, Tom. I'm attending this too, but I'll see you in an hour. I'm in the band. So, is this on, or how does this work?
I believe everything's on.
I think everything's
Yep,
on.
so
Yeah,
we're
so,
public.
Yeah, no, I just, so what was the objection of the CPC, if I may ask?
Don't remember, again, the project wasn't through us, this gentleman was running it through. I don't know if it was the amount of monies, whether, you know, like, we'll do crossing lights, and sometimes they just didn't fail, you know, the monies went to, as you know,
Yeah.
another project instead of ours, and we just reapply the year after.
I wouldn't give up.
We don't.
We don't.
We keep on
He
doing
did.
it every year. And this year we were fortunate, we got a grant. And what else?
Yeah,
It was a grant there,
Grant.
and
Yeah.
so we've got 2 of them going in this year.
Yeah,
We
good.
just got 2 more that will be, we need some engineering support, and it looks like we might get that from the Cape Cod Commission to review the street layouts and stuff of that nature.
Nice.
And then, when that's done, we'll be able to at least pursue getting another one for next year.
Mm.
So Fran will get us an update for next month. And other than that, if we've got any new business, or like, you know, we talked about helmets a little bit, you have.
Yeah, I was very, what's the word, encouraged by the positive things you're proposing. I don't know what else you have on your agenda for the long term. You know, do you have any other grand thoughts that you, and I'm asking this as an interested person
Yeah.
in the public.
If I could speak
Go.
to it, my understanding is it's actually a state law. The helmets doesn't really, I don't think it comes from us.
I agree.
It comes from the state. And it's anybody over the age of 16, I want to say, it doesn't, I don't think it covers
The little ones? No.
the little ones, which
It should cover the
Sure.
little ones. I think it's the other way
That
around.
I don't know.
So I don't necessarily
Yeah.
disagree with what you're saying. But it really doesn't come from
Personally,
us.
No, it
Yeah.
doesn't come from
No,
us,
no,
it's
and
a
I-
state,
Yeah,
state-driven. I'm just a believer, and we all have our own beliefs. I think it protects
Yeah.
people's brains and heads. It did to my daughters. She had a
Yeah.
really nasty fall, smashed her helmet,
Yeah.
pretty bad, but protected, you know, her
Denied,
head.
yeah.
So, but yeah, it's
I
state-driven.
responded to the article in the paper, and I wrote to the guy who, I forget his name, who
Mhm.
wrote the article, and I told him it was a wonderful thing, and that sort of piqued my interest, and he said, well, you ought to attend one of their meetings, so
Mhm.
here I am. And so if it's a state, well, maybe it's to go after the state. My thinking is, I look at, because I ride the bicycle paths every so often, and it's the people that race, they think they're the Tour de France, that create many of the problems. And of course, there is the mixture of pedestrians, walkers,
That's right.
and
Yeah.
bicyclists.
Yeah, yeah.
And, you know, for the guys with the 20-speed gears, and they want to go like a bat out of hell.
Hmm.
Whereas, you know, from my perspective of riding a bike in the Netherlands and having just come back, saw it again, people mosey leisurely, mostly on a one-speed bike.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
One speed bump.
one-speed bike. People have, I don't know the percentage for sure, but I think 90% of the people have a one-speed bike and they just travel through the town. And if you're a bit of extra money, you get a 3-speed bike. And only the people with the spandex outfits and the this and the that have 21 speeds. I don't know what this 21 speed culture is all about here. I mean, after all, these things are flat.
Yes.
You know,
Yeah.
going up the mountains of the Pyrenees. So you don't need 21 speeds. You need 1 speed, maybe 3. But again, it's a mindset, and this sort of brought me to think in terms, you know, getting the wrong end of the animal. You know, why are we wearing helmets? Instead, we should educate the people. You don't have to race 60 miles per hour, where there's a mixture of people who leisurely want to ride their bike.
Yep.
Most of them, I suspect, and the people that walk. So hence but I'm a firm believer, you can't say no. You can say no, but you have to offer a solution. Otherwise, keep your big mouth
Good.
shut. So my solution is
Part
to
of the
educate the
solution.
people that, you know, those trails are for people to enjoy it and not to make it a racetrack.
Yeah,
So
And I don't know how to go about it, but
I'm not so
that,
sure
that
there
was
is
my
a
mindset.
helmet law in Massachusetts.
I thought there was.
I think it's 16 or younger is required to wear a helmet. I'm
maybe
not,
I have it backwards.
I'm not so sure there is.
I
for
have it
over
backwards.
16.
Yeah.
Look, I can check. I
no,
looked
no,
really
that makes
briefly.
more sense.
It's Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 85, Section 11B. I'll look it up tonight.
Yeah.
I mean,
But now that you're saying it, that didn't sound right when I was saying it.
Yeah, that made more
Because you're
sense.
the truth, so I just have it mixed up.
You
So,
have
yeah.
I could be wrong.
Yeah,
I'll check.
yeah.
I mean,
But I don't
didn't
think-
you talk about an article in the Cape Cod Times or the Globe or
I
the?
forget if it was the Cape Cod Times or the Chronicle.
Okay.
One of those two. I subscribed to those two. So.
And the gist of the article was what?
Well, was it to talk to you, or he attended the meeting? Or?
Ah.
Charlene, yeah,
That was when we had we were giving the lights away. The Cape Cod Commission was giving
that's
the-
right.
And there was a reporter
we
there.
did, giving the lights away, it was the marker
Yes.
also.
Oh.
We had a photo,
I forgot about that, yeah.
with
I saw your
Chatham.
pictures on the email. They look,
Yeah.
they look nice. You didn't like them?
I never liked the pictures.
Yeah, I never.
But it was good to have two, it was a Chatham and, that was the one, Chatham and Harwich were together, and they had somebody that was from the Times, I think it was the Cape Cod Times, there, taking a few notes and things of that nature, and
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
exactly
yeah,
what it
yeah.
was.
For instance, if they're going to, and this piqued my interest when you said they're going to widen the part of the trail, or not
Nice.
widen it, but if they redo it, if they could make it an extra 2 feet wider, I don't know if that's possible.
That
Then
would be
you
nice,
could
too.
accommodate pedestrians better. And
I
it's
have-
one of those things. If you don't ask them, they won't do it. Right?
Without a doubt. They call them multi-use trails, like if you went to
Yeah.
Florida, right? They call them multimodal or multi-use
exactly.
trails. And they are wider, and they accommodate, like at the villages, they accommodate golf carts as well as people riding and walking. And there's no doubt about that. And I have had the opportunity to ride a fair number of the rail trails around New England. And yeah, they are about 2 feet wider, and no doubt about that. I don't know.
I don't know if it's great expense or as a
I don't.
limitation on the easement or what have we, but
Sometimes you'll run into that, because
Yeah.
now we've got fences that are, what,
Yeah,
foot
close,
off
yeah.
of
Yeah,
the trails, 2 feet, a foot and a half,
Yeah.
fences mostly, when they go down an embankment. So that could cause,
but you can ask.
or you could go right to the fence if you had to, I
Yeah,
guess.
so- And it's one of those things, like I said, I don't want to just criticize things.
no, you
I
bring
want
up
to
good
offer a
points.
solution, and then, if you make it wider,
Yeah,
there's less.
yes. Well, I'll speak to what happened to me today. I mean, there's a tunnel between here and Nickerson Park, and there's enough clearance in the center of that tunnel and just a little bit either side. If you go near the edge of the trail, you'd hit your head on the.
Yeah, right.
So it's very tight there, and there were two walkers who were actually straddling the center line, and I had to go pretty close to them in order to not hit my head, and I should have probably stopped, but I didn't. Everything in a bike, you're in a zen zone.
You have a 21 speed bike?
I do. But I don't. I absolutely understand what you're saying. When I ride, I always say passing on the left. I mean, I try to be very courteous, and I'm not riding over 15 miles an hour.
One of the
So-
things, and you probably can get some money for it, and I'm just trying to approach it from an analytical point of view, to see how many of the bikers are racers, to give them a name,
Yeah.
versus people who leisurely want to just enjoy
I
it.
think the racers are in minority.
I think
Would you
so, too.
agree? I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah,
and certainly this time of the year, I think the bigger numbers are the people who are here on vacation with their
Yep,
children,
families, yep.
and they're not avid bike riders, so they're going to come out and ride 5
Yeah,
miles an
they're
hour.
gonna be-
I mean, I'm 5 miles of distance. They're going to ride us. Where
Yeah.
we might be looking at 20 miles.
Yeah.
And yes, and I do think they are. I think that is going to be an upcoming issue. I think that they're looking at speed limits Mostly because of the e-bike issue.
Yeah,
But
tell-
that
tell me
will
about the-
affect-
what have you experienced with respect to the e-bikes?
My experience is that the e-bikes bring a lot more people into the ability, gives them a chance to ride on that trail, where they might be older or they might be handicapped in some way. The Class 1 e-bikes are limited to 20 miles an hour, but you have to pedal it. It doesn't go by itself at all.
But are the e-bikes an issue because they go faster or because they happen to be e-bikes?
There are classes of them that go faster, and I think that's where we see the problems.
You know.
And the
younger-
state is working on that, how to
And the
best
younger,
address
younger
it.
generation is
They-
gonna go as fast as it can go.
No doubt about
They had
it.
a similar issue in the Netherlands, and I'm drawing on my experience.
Yeah,
When I was younger, they call them brommers. They were motor
Oh,
powered
yes.
bikes.
yeah,
And at one point, these things became mini racing bikes.
Right.
They were motorbikes. And people said that this is too much. So they're
Yep.
now, they can no longer be on the bicycles. But they allow, in the Netherlands, they allow the e-bikes, but people, like you say, older people, like me, it's a convenience. But you can only go, it goes back to the same thing,
yeah, it's a speed
limited
thing.
to a
Yeah.
speed
Yeah.
that's,
Right.
Yep.
it's a leisure rail instead of
Correct.
a race bike.
Yeah.
There, just to present the argument, a gentleman wrote me quite a long letter. I don't know if it was me or the committee, but he wrote, he has neuropathy in his feet. So he could be out riding, all of a sudden he goes numb. So he has an e-bike with a throttle on it. But he says, I ride in the speed range of 7 to 8 miles an hour, whether I'm using that or, and he said, please don't cut me off from being able to use that trail. And that's not what you're advocating either. But,
Because 20 miles is pretty fast.
yeah, 20 miles is too fast. It's not even close.
So it's not
Yeah.
an issue of speed, it's not an issue of it being electric, it's a matter of.
Of speed.
How fast you're
Permits you
going.
to go faster.
Yeah.
Correct.
It allows you.
Correct.
Initially, there was a lot of concern about having that throttle. The Class 1 e-bikes, you know, where it's a pedal assist, is probably more conducive to it. And the throttle allows
Not just
some
like-
variability.
You know, it's again goes to my thinking, instead of not allowing people to do it, what's the root cause of it? People are just.
Just
racing.
riding
It's
too fast.
racing.
And that's how, I believe, that's how the state is viewing to settle it, is to put a speed limit up.
Yeah.
From my input, I think that's the way to go.
Yeah.
I don't know how you enforce the speed limit.
Well, just,
Probably won't.
So it's my understanding nothing's come down from the state yet, right?
Correct.
Because we talked about this in December. I was just
Yes.
looking at my
Yep.
notes
Yeah.
from December.
Yeah,
Yeah, there's roughly 3 classes of e-bikes, is that right? And they're
Yes.
trying to decide which classes are or aren't allowed. And
Yeah.
so we just said, regarding e-bike usage vis-à-vis the bike trails, it was acknowledged that e-bikes are currently allowed on the trails, but that safe behavior is requested. It was recognized that specific articulation in the Code of Massachusetts regulations is needed before municipal rules can be posted. The issue is pending in the Massachusetts legislature, so it's still pending,
It's
I
still
guess.
pending.
Yeah, yeah.
I
It's
believe,
still-
I could be wrong.
no,
Okay,
you're
no,
right.
I think you're right.
so we're waiting to hear, okay.
and I presume you've talked to people like Sarah Peak and all these, didn't you?
You know, Alan has been deeply, we have a quasi-member,
Yep.
and he works with us, but he is, that's what his job in life is that he works for a nonprofit in support of bicycling and
Yeah.
rail trails and stuff, so he's very up on this stuff, and he gives us feedback, that's why we,
And how about
He's
Chamber of
fighting
Commerce?
legislator.
And because I presume that the Cape is one of the focal points for bicycling in the Massachusetts, right, or not?
it's,
It's great for us, but it's not the focal point, I don't think.
you'd be
yeah.
surprised, I mean, like, we took a trip to Newburyport, and there's rail trails around Newburyport that they linked up. They were short sections, but to increase tourism to their town, they took the project on of joining those so that you'd spend a minimum amount of time on roads, and turned out, they have some really nice
There's
trails.
the Minuteman Trail outside of
Yeah,
Concord.
that's true.
Yeah.
There's one, what's the small city next to New Bedford?
Yes.
Oh, Fairhaven.
Fairhaven, there's one there.
There's one
Because the
there.
guy Jimmy, that's sort of a
That's right.
quasi
Yep.
member too,
Shining Sea Trail.
is from there, and he was psyched that they got
Quite a
the-
few. I
Fairhaven.
mean,
We
there's
just
a
did East
long-term
Bay.
plan to connect them all on the Cape.
Yeah.
That'd be
Yeah.
really neat to do, but that's very, very long-term at this point.
Yeah.
They keep on inching away a couple, 3-4 miles every year.
Yeah.
There,
And when I think about these things, there's a pluriunum, right? So out of single ones, a whole bunch of one. And if you could get the chambers of commerce, if they're interested in it, because it goes back to the people without an e-bike, that if you set a speed limit, because you mentioned earlier,
Yeah.
outside the electric bike, if you limit it to, pick a number.
Yeah.
20 miles per hour, that goes for everybody.
oh, yeah, absolutely.
Exactly.
And I think it would be more on the level of 15, but
Yeah, I'd agree
Yeah, I
with
would
you.
say, yeah, I
20
would say
20 is-
15's, yeah, 20's
fast.
moving, really.
20's too fast for this trail. That's not even close.
Yeah,
Yeah.
With the number of people that are out there. If you're out there by yourself, okay, but
anyway.
Okay, one last thing that I have that, as we discussed earlier, Jacqueline has
Yeah.
resigned.
yeah.
So
Jacqueline is who?
Jacqueline Pence, one of our members,
Okay,
has resigned. And so we'll be looking for one new member.
I think we have a great prospect.
Yeah, I know, I know, Al, I know, we've had, you're always welcome to.
Yes.
Yeah.
I've talked to, I'd love to be involved in the activities of the town of Harwich, I really do, I always like it, but I play in 3 bands, and I'm the vice commander of the auxiliary division for the Cape and Islands, so I'm
Wow.
up to my eyeballs in
Oh,
activities.
boy.
You've got enough
But I will
activities.
attend once in a while.
Please.
You're always welcome as a guest, and
We just need to get Jimmy and Alain to
Jimmy
be
or Alan
full-fledged
here.
members.
I know,
You
yes,
and
yes,
I
yeah.
think,
Yeah.
that Fran has reached out to Alan,
Cool.
but I
Yeah.
have not seen an email or anything else from either one of them at this point on that.
So
But,
one last thing, if we were talking about pet peeves on the bike trail,
Yeah.
one of mine is, I don't know if anyone in this room is a dog owner, and if you are, I apologize.
I'm not.
But
Not
there
anymore.
there is a leash law, and I mean, it is more universally ignored than jaywalking. I mean, if you walk by the community center, you're supposed to have your dog on a leash, and no
Yeah.
one does,
Yeah,
ever.
yeah,
But on the bike trail, they also don't. And I just sort of deal with it. I don't want to cause problems. But when people are coming the other way, especially cyclists that look pretty serious, and sometimes I look serious when I'm on the trail, and other times I'm, it's clear that I'm,
Trash.
just riding down to one of the games or something. But
Yeah, yeah.
but if I look serious and there's someone coming the other direction that's going pretty fast, and I'm building up a head of steam, they're like, bike on leash up ahead. They'll let you know, because I mean
Yes.
that can wreck you off the. I mean, it
Oh.
happens. It's happened in the Tour,
Yeah.
which starts in a week if anyone's. I mean, or 10 days, I guess. But I mean, it's happened in the Tour de France. I mean,
Wow.
someone in the crowd. I mean, you can pull up the videos on YouTube, but and it causes hellacious accidents in the peloton.
Oh.
But it's also going to hurt someone on our trail eventually. But I just don't think there's anything we can do about it. I mean, you can't get people to leash their dogs when they walk down the street. You can't get them to leash them at the beach where there is a specific sign. I mean, it's a state law. I mean, you're not going to get them to leash them on the trail.
But
There's nothing we can do, basically. I just want to. That's my pet peeve. That's it. I'm done. I mean,
But I suspect it's the same people who do it.
Could be.
It's a law of
True.
averages. And I live in an area where we have a herring warden, and he is deputized. I'm total babble here, but like I said, I complain, but then I try to offer at least one solution. You can have people deputized to be dog wardens and walk the path as they walk the path anyway,
Yeah.
and, cite them or whatever it is. And after a few examples, I'll bet you might be surprised how quickly people then react.
I wonder about, I'm
Just a thought.
forgetting
No,
his
no,
name, our ranger.
Bernie.
Bernie.
I think, Andrew, do you usually see them out here on the Old Colony Trail? Like, over by Thompson's Field? Is that
What,
where you usually
people
see
doing
them?
that?
Yeah. Or is it just
All over.
Okay.
I go north, you know, past Orleans sometimes. There's a lot of in the Orleans area.
Is there? Yeah.
There's.
I definitely see them over by the dog.
Yeah.
Oh, I see what you're saying, by the dog park.
And
By the dog
that,
park.
it is a rule that they're supposed to be unleashed, and everything you said is,
Yeah.
I'm agree with, because what they do, they're out running in the woods, so they start getting close to the trail, and the dog's ahead of the person walking.
I got you.
Now dog sees you,
Yeah.
and now they're alerted to you because they feel like
Yeah.
maybe you're not a nice person. And
Yeah.
I had that happen to me last year, so that,
Yeah.
I'm with you 110%. I agree.
I haven't run
Yeah.
into it, but that's the, you know,
And like I
It-
said, other cyclists tend to be really proactive about warning you.
Yeah,
I
because
can't tell you how many times someone coming the other direction that's
Yeah.
seen them up ahead is
Yeah.
giving
Yeah.
me a warning up ahead.
Yeah.
You know, they're like, dog on leash up ahead, you know, as
Yeah.
they fly by, especially if they see that I'm going fast. If I'm just sort of,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
tooling
Still.
around, you know,
it
but
still could throw you,
true,
No matter how-
absolutely true.
yeah.
you know? Okay.
Anyways,
That's about it. Next meeting, it's okay, have it in July. We're
Yeah.
having our next meeting, July 21st at 5 PM here. And that's the end of our meeting.
Thank you.
Thank you for all attending.
Well, thank you
Welcome,
for,
thank you
accommodating me.
for